Hello and welcome to Kelly Loves K-Pop. I'm Kelly. Today we're doing a tarot reading on the Korean idol Taeyong from NCT, SUPERM. Is he in any other projects? I mean, I know NCT, he's in a lot of them, but we're doing a reading on him. Today we're going to do his ideal partner, and then I believe we're going to do a career spread for him as well. This reading was brought by a very lovely donator. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Really, it means the world to me. I can't even tell you. Just thank you. You're very, very appreciated. So I won't talk on too much. I just have one more small disclaimer that tarot readings are for entertainment purposes only. I'm not affiliated with any idols or any companies. I do this purely of my own speculation and intuition and opinions. So with that said, we're going to do our reading with our, today we're going to do 8 cards because it's a paid reading. Free readings, usually I do 6. So that's the difference if you see it in other readings. It's the Caroline Miss archetype cards. Hopefully you guys can see that. And we're going to layer those with the spellcasting oracle cards. So one of them will be for traits that would be ideal for Taeyong, and then the other cards that layer on top are like the clarifiers, reason why those traits would be ideal for him. So we don't do readings on love or future partners or anything like that. This is simply like what traits would be good for them or what traits they themselves idealize. So it is kind of a blend of both. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and shuffle the cards up a little bit and we'll get to it. So if you want to order your own celebrity tarot reading, I have a link in the description to my Ko-fi page. I also just accept tips there, but any reading through the Ko-fi page will get precedence. I have a free request list that if you don't want to pay for a reading, you can just leave me a comment or check out my Tumblr or my Instagram. All that information is also linked, and you can make requests from any and all of those places. So we will go ahead and start pulling cards here. If you're into NCT, I do have a NCT playlist, you know, on the channel where you can see all of my NCT readings in one easy to find place. Stuff like Taeyong, if they fall into multiple groups, I will have them in multiple playlists. So if you're into SUPERM, you can find them in my SUPERM readings. If you're into NCT, you can find them in my NCT readings. He'll be in both. Okay, one more good shuffle. Okay, let's go. Just gonna make sure all of these are, actually I think I can move them all up a little bit. Oh yeah, we're good. We're very good. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and shuffle up my spellcasting oracle cards and get those layered on top. I'm going to go ahead and just shuffle them up a little bit better. It's interesting. I've used these spellcasting oracle cards quite a lot now, and we have a couple cards I've never pulled before, so that is fun. Okay, just gonna get these out of our way. All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and get this reading started. We have Thief in the Shadow with empowerment. So shadow is stealing money, creative ideas, affection, or other powers you think you lack. So obviously this is about where Taeyong may feel a need to emulate those around him because of expectations that are on him, or just him a lack of self-esteem in certain things, insecurities. We all have those. He may feel like a need to like bluff, you know, fake it till you make it in certain aspects. Obviously not his talent, but you can understand why he's probably had to forego a certain social experience to pursue his life as an idol, right? You're just not going to have the same amount of time to like, you know, talk to people and the same opportunities. The way you deal with public is completely different once you're an idol. So, and you train for that. So this is about empowerment. This is about a partner that would make him feel way more confident in himself, that would empower him to not be afraid of showing who he is, or expressing that he's still learning who he is, not being ashamed of that. That's a journey that everyone takes, right? As much as you're under pressure to look like this specific persona, he may feel like he has pressure to live up to that, and who he really is isn't good enough. And this is someone who would tell him that he is, right? That would show him that he is. Then we have Prince in the Light, which is romantic charm and potential for power and willpower. So again, I think this piggybacks off of the last card, which is like showing him that even if his love language or his style of relationship is different maybe than like the way he has to act in public, in private maybe he's different, that's okay, you know. Again, this is building up his esteem, but also like it's like about making decisions too. Maybe he's in a place where he's not ready to quite settle down, and sometimes you need someone who will also like be ready to like wait and have that kind of mental fortitude to know when things are serious and know when things aren't. And you know, we'll have that kind of patience, you know, especially with young people. Some people like to rush into a very monogamous, steady relationship, and some people don't. So it's like not only him having like empowerment, but the significant other also being pretty confident in themselves, and having their own, you know, things of their own. You know, it's tough when someone's life is completely and utterly like about you. You have to have someone that also has their own interests and their own things, and they can balance those, right? You know, they have their own strength, their own mind about things. And then we have Companion in the Shadow and Beauty. So betrayal by misusing confidences, loss of personal identity. I'm seeing like personal identity as a reoccurring theme again. This probably could be someone that again is going to show him like his inner beauty, someone that shows him like you don't have to wear all the fashion and the makeup, and you know, the hairstylist, like who you look like when you wake up in the morning is not always who you look like once you've had an entire stylist team dress you and do your own thing. I'm seeing like again this reoccurring theme just of him feeling like who he isn't enough, and there's a lot of insecurity there, so he's going to need someone who's going to build that confidence up with him, and take their time and not put too much pressure on him, but like help him see his own inner beauty, help him accept himself how he is, even if he's still learning who he is. So we're seeing a lot of that. And my air conditioner just started. Okay. All right, so we have Seeker in the Shadow, which is inability to commit to a path once found, and boundaries. Again, this is piggybacking off of this prince. This is like, okay, you want to do your own thing, that's fine, but I'm also going to do mine. And like someone that can help establish or is okay with clear boundaries and respecting those boundaries. I think he's the type of person that's going to need a lot of space and freedom for a while, while he's learning who he is. It's like, it's an experience. Yes, someone can like tell you who they see when they look at you, but unless you go out and live your life and experience many things, you almost don't appreciate what you have, and you also don't know who you are until you know what you are not. Those two things go hand in hand. So while he's out like seeking his truth, again, someone who is fine having patience, having boundaries, having their own things they're also interested in. This is very much at the forefront here. And financial health, and the advocate and the light. So it's funny how they're both like trees here. Inspires you to put compassion into action and financial health. So he may find someone idealistic who is into humanitarian work, but also like philanthropy, who wants to obviously like help the planet, like wants to pursue green ideas, maybe someone who also lives their day-to-day life conscious of their carbon footprints and wants to live a very eco-friendly lifestyle. Like, I see all of this. That could be something that's very, very important to him, is being environmentally friendly in general, like in your day-to-day life. It's not someone who's wasteful and, not considerate towards the planet, but also doing it in a way that, it's not just, like someone who, I think a lot of problems we're seeing with the upper class is that there isn't enough care for the planet. So I think he does want someone who, as their financial standing grows, they're very environmentally conscious about those things. I think you see a lot of waste and lack of consideration for who's got to clean up after you. A lot of lack of consideration for the second class, the planet, from wealthy people. So I think someone who maybe is wealthy but doesn't do it in a way that is inconsiderate towards the planet and towards other people. So we have engineer in the light, with ability to give creative energy a practical expression, talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. Again, I feel like this is off of that advocate and that financial health, and trust. Like I said, again, I just feel like it's building off of this, where it's like having faith, with this card. It's bigger than just trusting them. It's like trusting them on like every level. To be a creative thinker. Again, if you're going to be this kind of advocate, you're also going to probably have a unique view, but all of this still seems like it's about helping people, wanting to do things that are for the betterment of those around you. It's also about creative energy. So I do think ideally he'd be into someone who is creative, but maybe creative in a very different way than he is. Someone who is creative with a deeper reasoning behind it, like someone whose creativity is going to better the world. Ideally, like that would be someone he would look up to and respect quite a bit. It would be someone that immediately got his attention. So we have servant in the shadow, is using the lack of money as an excuse not to move forward with life and peace. I know that the card is servant, but I view this as like someone who knows how to slow down and enjoy things, like finds their peace in like the quiet time. Like I said, you don't need money, you don't need things. Like, it's not about material assets. You know, you don't have to have anyone else around. Like, really stopping to live in the moment. So someone who, like I said, probably has a amount of wealth, but knows how to live without it, or would be fine to live without it. Understands that money's a tool. It's not happiness. Happiness is enjoying those around you. Those are enjoying, like I said, the quiet, the peace, the harmony of the earth. Like, I see this very like earthy energy here. So also someone possibly an earth sign. There's just a lot of like really grounded energy, a lot of like betterment to people, those around them, using money as like a tool, not as a lifestyle. You know, can enjoy the simple pleasures. And the last one is rebel and grieving. So rebel in the shadow is rejects legitimate authority out of anger, rebels out of peer pressure or fashion. So grieving. So I think this is like pointing out understanding why someone is rebelling. Like I said, he may have a hard time expressing his emotions, expressing his anger. If he has past trauma, or he feels like he's, like I said, he's had loss, he may not be good at expressing it, and he may act out. So this to me is about someone who can recognize that, who doesn't react in the moment. You know, someone who knows how to dig a little deeper to the heart of an issue, to help find closure for deep personal wounds, you know, and understands, maybe has also experienced loss and can relate on that kind of deep level, so that he's able to openly talk about it, to heal. Yeah, because the rejects legitimate authority out of anger sticks out to me in this card much more than the peer pressure or fashion. You know, like sitting here, like it's almost like an empty seat, like waiting for someone to come talk. And again, also they're all like sitting together talking, and that's kind of really what I get, is someone who really recognizes what, you know, someone who's hurting, someone who's grieving like looks like, and can actually like help heal those kind of situations. Someone who maybe is not quick to anger themselves. Again, like I said, like these are ideals. So obviously, like all the traits I'm going to talk about are going to be pretty positive. But sometimes there has to be an understanding of what like Taeyong would need in a person. So like this is the kind of more insight into his personality and his psyche as well. You know, so again, someone who understands the difference between pain, reasons why someone would rebel out of anger, to find, you know, understand their insecurities, what they need, how to respect boundaries, you know, and also someone that looks for the betterment of humanity, and actually I think even more than humanity, the planet, like the actual environment, I think is what he's personally like looking for, or the type of person he would idealize, right? So that's what I have for his ideal partner. I'm gonna go ahead and get my tarot cards now, and we'll go ahead and start the career reading. Go ahead and get my Shadowscapes Tarot. All right, so Taeyong's career. What is his career gonna look like? Let's see. Usually I try to go for the long game here. Try to cover, you know, the extent of his future, but it's a lot. So sometimes I get more energy's a little more closer, not quite as in the future. Sometimes it depends. Just depends if like there's a really strong energy for the current events, or if it's easier for me. Certain energies, just people are different. All right, Taeyong. Four of Swords in reverse. Seven of Swords. The World in reverse. Six of Wands. Knight of Swords. The Emperor. Two of Swords. The Empress. So we have the Emperor and the Empress. Interesting. It's definitely the makings of an empire. And the Magician. Ooh, I like that for the last card. I do. Okay. So we have the Four of Swords in reverse. This will be like there might be a forced pause, a hiatus for him somewhat in the nearer future. I try to read it like nearer to further, but at some point I see him having like being forced to take a pause. I don't know if it'll be due to an injury or something like that. I feel it would be more in line with that than anything else. But I mean, also with the rate idols are dealing with anxiety and those kind of things. It could be to that. I don't foresee right here. Well, you know, we do have the Seven of Swords, so it could be due to rumor. We could have both. We could have a forced pause due to injury, and then later on we're going to have some rumor trouble. Because the World in reverse also sounds like it's about having to take a break, like hiding from the world. A pause in output, you know, and a pause in manifestation. But ultimately we have the Victory card here. So I think even if he does have to deal with some legal issues or some really bad, hateful netizens, after a while, maybe after a break, he will come back and it'll be like stronger than ever. Like again, this is the Victory card, so he'll come out on top from that. So he might have some struggles for a little while, for a few years. And then we have the Knight of Swords too, which is about making really, really good progress, kind of just able to go off in your direction, have your ideas moving along. This is a really interesting set because we have the Emperor and the Empress, the structure and the creation, and then we have the Two of Swords, which is like a choice. You choose your heart, or you choose, you know, it's kind of like your mind versus your heart. What do you think is good for you versus what do you really truly want? So it's like he may have to choose between building, you know, his career and sacrificing his creative side. It seems like there's a choice here. And the Page of Cups in reverse too is like a letting go of feelings. Usually I read this as like when you have to let go of friends, but it could be letting go of some of his more creative control. He may end up getting pulled into the structure of, you know, the company. Especially a company like SM Entertainment, they reward you for going along and getting along and doing what they want. Then a lot of times that means you're not going to get to really pursue art in the way you want it, unless it just so happens what you want is what's popular. You know, that's it. That's the added benefit, is if you can, those two things align, then you're fine with SM. But if you want to do something kind of against the grain, you can do it, but you will get a lot less activity than people who are going to do the SM sound and the way SM likes to look. Like, you know what I mean? Like the SM sound. So I do see a little bit of heartbreak for that. But We have the Magician towards the end, which means also this might be temporary. He might have to sacrifice for a bit before he's ultimately like in control. And I think that's the thing, is that he'll have to prove to SM that his fan base is stable. And I'm talking about this as his solo. I'm not talking about this as him in NCT. This is him in his solo work. And I think once he can prove that his solo work will sell, like they might be like, okay, if you do like 3 or 4 releases in our style, we'll give you 1 comeback that's like yours. And if yours does better than ours, then you can go for it. And it may be something like that, where he has to wait and then prove to them that what he, you know, when he puts it in his style, it still does well. And then he'll finally be in charge of it. But it's going to be like proving to the system that he's willing to play their game. And he'll have to do it for quite a while. But I feel like this is him in a few years. I feel like this up and down right now with maybe K netizens, maybe a possible scandal, or I don't even want to say scandal, I want to say like a rumor mill kind of situation, and a possible injury, or anxiety, something like that. He'll have some brief pauses before he like gets into his rhythm, before him and the company start having like their understanding, and him kind of working up into it to where he can finally be in charge of his own career. But I think it's going to be a little while. I think he's going to have to follow kind of like the Taemin thing, where, you know, Taemin had to take a risk. And I still don't feel like Taemin gets to come back as often as he wants to, but still he can prove that he has enough sales to have a regular comeback schedule in some form. And I think initially that's like Taeyong's going to have to play that game for a while. It's kind of what I get here. Let me see if I can grab... Just gonna grab a quick oracle and see if anything pops out. Sometimes my oracle readings give me just a little bit extra. A little bit of something fun, something extra to mix in. These are my Wisdom of the Oracle cards. Oops, looks like I have, whoa! Looks like I have shuffled them, although I don't read reversals, but it looks like I might have accidentally shuffled some in. I'm used to shuffling for my tarot cards. Whoa, we'll pull a few of these. Okay, so time to go is about him kind of leaving the safety net of NCT and pursuing more of his own solo, like that door, you know, it's like running away from something to start something new. I think he has to trust in himself that he can do it, and that that is the next logical step for him. Doesn't mean he has to leave NCT completely, but I do think he needs to start changing his focus for himself for a long term. Treasure Island is also reaping the rewards of like a long search. So if he does go on this personal journey, he will receive the rewards. Yin 2 is also about, you know, like we said, this whole like, he's gonna have to have like a gentle energy about him, a receptive energy about him for a while before he can really like let his creativity kind of flow. Like to get what he wants, he has to be kind of easy to get along with for the company. But I do think if he puts in the work, he'll get rewarded for that. So yeah, so the oracle is just like, don't be afraid to go after what he wants. He just has to do it in a very like patient and non-threatening way to his company. So All right, I hope you enjoyed your reading. Thank you so much again for making the request on the Ko-fi page. I greatly appreciate you. If you know, this is your first time watching one of my readings, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. I have like a ton more NCT content. I have a lot of Taeyong readings for you to check out. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much. I hope you take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys real soon. Bye.